I love being an entrepreneur and hosting this top 2.5% global show to bring you authentic talks with successful founders of companies and brands. My entrepreneurial journey started after I was left for dead. Let's learn the impactful journey of today's guest now.
If you want to be an authority in your field, just write a book on whatever it is you want to do. But I think having a goal for the book. So to me, the goal was to really help people, like people that I speak with, but it also, somebody who reads it, it's like when I get them on the phone, what do I really have to say? They know my investment philosophy. They know what I'm trying to do. They know the kind of what I'm trying to help them do. And they also get kind of the reason I'm doing stuff behind it. So it really opens up a lot of doors. So if you're looking for client acquisition, kind of like the gift that keeps on giving back.
Here we go, That Entrepreneur Show. We're back in a full day of live streams. This time we're hitting That Entrepreneur Show. We're bringing Bronson on the show. He's got a lot of value to add. He dabbles in real estate, oil, gas, tariffs, you name it. He's going to bring his A game. And of course, he is the podcast host of the Mailbox Money Show. So make sure you add that to your queue. Show that some love. Bronson, thanks for coming on.
Hey, Vincent, excited to be here, man. Love talking about all the stuff and just love talking with entrepreneurs. So really excited to chat today.
Oh, I'm excited to have you. Where are you streaming in from?
I'm in Pasadena, California. What about you?
I am in St. Petersburg.
Oh, nice. Beautiful area.
Yeah, likewise, and a few hours behind me, but I'll tell you what, he's ready to rock and roll. We caught up behind the scenes. He's the managing member of Bronson Equity. You can catch them at bronsonequity.com. General partner in 2,500 multifamily units. Again, the host of the Mailbox Money Show. Best-selling author, if you're catching the live stream or it on my pages after. He's got the book right behind him, so you can go ahead, add that to your cart on Amazon. But the way I like to start these shows, Bronson, is way back in the beginning of your journey. Why did you want to become an entrepreneur?
Well, I think for me, my first job I ever did, my older brother was delivered newspapers. So I grew up in Seattle. Successful people such as Warren Buffett started with delivering newspapers. And now they don't really do it as much anymore. The newspapers aren't as common, but it was something I had to do every single day of the year. So I learned some responsibility there. And then I just got another job, worked at McDonald's, worked in retail, did some different things. And then I just remember saying over the years, man, I'd love to have my own business. I ended up being in medical sales for about 10 years, and I was making millions of dollars for a company. And I was like, man, if I was just doing this on my own, I'd be creating my own thing. And so it's a big leap for anybody who is an entrepreneur. As you know, it's especially if you have a background, your family's like a group of teachers, and that's kind of what mine are. So everybody's teachers, like, why would you leave your great job, your $250K a year job to go do this unsure thing? But I just didn't want to be 70 or 80 years old and think, man, I have these regrets that I didn't try.
I love that you said that. And everyone out there, that could be the push you need to jump into entrepreneurship. And it's not going to be easy. And you hear the courage it takes to leave something so secure, not just a paycheck every Friday, but making a substantial income. But if you have that inside you, you do not want to let life pass you by. So everyone, this is That Entrepreneur Show. Again, we just had a great preview from Bronson. He's tuning in. He's got a lot to offer. And now we're going to pivot to some tax help. We're dealing with a lot of tariffs right now. Can you give us the latest on these tariffs and how it can affect domestic business owners here in the States?
Yeah, so a lot of people have said it really has created a lot of uncertainty. We had a business, we were, again, we've gone from real estate to now we're actually buying businesses now. And so we had a project we're working on that was drop ship products from China. And we're planning to close a couple months ago. And this little thing called tariffs kind of happened. And so the lender dropped out and we decided to turn investor funds. So it was very disappointing, but it's also sometimes the best deal is the deal that you didn't do. But again, across the board, we're just seeing a lot of uncertainty. So a lot of CEOs, a lot of companies, like, well, it's kind of like wait and see. And if you source products from anywhere else, even if you work in the US, just there's a lot of uncertainty around what that's going to look like for you. And I understand some of the reasons why we're doing it. I also understand that it's just, when you have uncertainty, it's hard to create plans. So I think that for a lot of people, it's kind of a wait and see approach, which means companies often are not hiring, people are not making bigger investments. And I think there's opportunity there, but I think it's the general approach is a lot of people are being very cautious.
And do you think this persists into 2026?
It'll be interesting to see. I think there was that 90-day window that was given, I think, till July for some of these businesses. And then China, of course, we're recording this mid-May, was given kind of a 90-day. We don't know if it'll be at 30% going forward for these tariffs. It'll be higher, it'll be lower. We're not sure. So there's just a lot of uncertainty, but I'm hoping it'll get resolved this year, and things will play out how they're going to play out. So again, if you have higher tariffs, it does reduce global trade. It reduces the ability to get things as cheaply. I mean, maybe it does bring jobs back. So I think there's a kind of a double edged sword to it. But
Yeah.
I think for people trying to plan, it's hard to forecast when I can't definitively answer that question because no one knows.
I love it. Well, that's some more advice for seasoned entrepreneurs, maybe doing business on a larger scale. But way back when you first got started, there's a lot we didn't know. What is a big lesson learned you had from your early days?
So I think early days. Oh man, I mean, there's so many lessons. I think one of the biggest things that's really, what I was able to do in my business was be able to grow my net worth as an investor from six figure to multiple seven figures in about so it's about 25x in about 4 years. And so it came from really learning and really, I think there's two things. They sound kind of boring, but they actually work amazingly. That there's this quote that says you'll be the same person 5 years from now, Vincent, except for the books you read and the people that you meet. So a lot of times we can be so heads down in our business, we don't realize that one partnership, one connection, one investor can be absolutely life changing. And I had a moment like that where I met a guy, pitched him at an event, and basically I made probably $1 million off of that one interaction over the next 18 months, right? And so that happens, right? So it's just getting in different rooms and then also being open to learning. So having, learning goals, not just I want to, meet a bunch of people, but I also want to learn, I want to grow. And so if it's true that the books you read and the people you meet, now that's could be not books, could be different sort of educational experiences, but I'm just continuing to learn and grow. And a lot of people are the most wealthy people in the world are the best business leaders in the world. They read all the time. Mark Cuban, Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, all these people read hours a day. And so how about these people that are extremely busy, which I'm sure a lot of people that are here, whether they're side hustling or full entrepreneurs, it's a busy life, but really creating that as a part-time job for yourself. Because as Brian Tracy would say, if you want to earn more, you have to learn more.
I absolutely love that. The learning never stops unless I think you want to give up. And then at that point, this podcast may not be the best resource for you. We're hoping to bring guests on just like Bronson, who are going to come out here and motivate you all the way. You also lead a lot of talks at the Wealth Forum. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, so the Wealth Forum is a group I started at. I've had over 2,500 interviews with high net worth investors that average net worth of 2 million or more. And I've noticed a lot of themes that a lot of people that are wealthy, if you have a higher net worth, a lot of times you start talking about investing. And first of all, you don't want to talk to family about it because that could create problems. You would start talking about friends about it or peers. I think you're crazy if you're not doing a traditional stock plan or have a money person. So if you want to invest in real estate or you want to do other sort of alternative or passive investing, you're kind of a little bit of a weirdo, right? So who do you talk to about this stuff? So we want to get people that are the same type of, same type of weird in a good way, and get them in a room and say, hey, let's all talk about investing. Nobody's pitching anything, but let's just have conversations around what's working, what's not working. I worked with these guys, these partners, they're amazing. I'd work for them again. I'd never work with these guys, and talking about just successes and failures. And I think that's very transformative. So if I have a net worth of 5 million and I get around somebody who's got a net worth of 50 million, well, just by them talking and sharing, I'm going to learn a lot just kind of from what they have to share. So there's a lot of collaboration. A lot of people are there also to give back. And so we create these in-person and virtual events where we just have people get together and kind of share knowledge and information as well as the educational side.
Thank you for sharing that. Everyone, keeps expanding your wings and keep growing under your umbrella. He's got that and has done so much. What has been the biggest benefit for podcasting since now for your business? How they've been able to coexist?
With the podcast and the business, well, it for me, one kind of drives to the other. So I think it's a great opportunity if anybody has a business to start podcasting, because what it allows you to do, it allows you to get really high level people that you have great conversations like with you, Vincent, just talk through things that you find interesting. So you get a front row seat to kind of ask experts in your field or in a different field and really bring them in. So we created the Mailbox Money Show, and it really is all about passive income, all different asset classes. I mean, there's people that invest in coffee farms in South America, or they buy airplanes. They put a little bit of money and pull it together and buy an airplane. It's like just ways to get passive income. So we're really focused right now on cash flow. I think a lot of investments and making a lot of money someday is great. But if I have money this month, this quarter, cash flow investments, things like buying businesses, oil and gas, or even there's something called a real estate debt fund, which provides monthly income. So things like that just help provide cash flow. Because as my book said, that's how you fire yourself, right? You can't do a lot of money someday. You've got to have every quarter, every month. So the podcast, we don't monetize directly from advertising or anything. We just get a lot of people that hear and they're interested and they join our investment deals that way. So we get a lot of new clients through that.
It's incredible. Well, everyone out there, You know my stance on podcasting. We live and breathe it, and it's, of course, a great supplement. I describe it as the best business card you never knew you needed. He mentioned you bring on these high level individuals, forging these professional relationships that you would not be able to do without podcasting unless you traveled to their state, their country, waited for them after their event, maybe had a conversation, but you can establish your credibility here with podcasting just like you did. You just brought up, though, oil, gas. I know you're diving a little more into that now as you're expanding your portfolio. Let's talk about it.
So oil and gas, yeah. If you haven't heard of it, I mean, I've never heard of oil and gas, but as far as an investment, it's really interesting because there's a lot of people that typically they're trying to solve a problem. We talked about cash flow. Cash flow, it's what allows you to quit a job. It allows you to retire and how you actually make money, have your money make money. Warren Buffett talks about learning how to make money while you sleep. And if you don't, you'll work until you die. So entrepreneurs are great at making money, right? But we're not good at having our money actually work for us, right? That your money itself now on its hard hat or whatever goes to work for you so that it actually is going to be creating more wealth. The other side of that is if people are making a lot of money in their business, we have professionals, we have business owners, the sometimes are paying 20, 30, 40, 50+% in taxes. And so if you're paying over $100,000 a year in taxes, you need to explore tax strategy. You need to explore oil and gas. And there's one of my chapters in my book, I believe chapter 7, talks about reduce your taxable income potentially to zero. Right. So how is that even possible? And I talk to people all the time, they're able to do it. So oil and gas is kind of a silver bullet. I'm just going to give it some high level, no specific deals. So if somebody, let's say, makes $500,000 a year and they invest $100,000 in an oil and gas drilling deal, so in the actual drilling, of that 100K, 80 to 85,000 goes down as a year one deduction of income. So that shows that they made between 415 and 420,000. So what is that worth? Well, just on the front end, that's depending on your tax bracket, that could be worth somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 just on the front end from that tax write off. And then you also get it's not uncommon 15 to 25% cash flow per year depending on the investment. And there's also some taxes and tax benefits as well. So if you can have an event, you start reducing your taxable basis, you're basically doing tax advantaged investments and you're not just making more, you're actually keeping more, which is way better.
I love the free insight. Thank you for that. He brought up his book a few times. See it behind him. I'm going to have you on Writing with Authors, so everyone will talk about his book on the other podcast too. So stay tuned for more in depth there. But now let's talk about the business and the book, how the book has maybe elevated or harmed. I don't want to assume, right? How has it played out for your business?
Yeah. So I would say, we talked about the podcast as a great way to grow your brand. I would say the book has even been a bigger lead than that. So I'd say 50% of our leads come in just through the book. It's become an Amazon #1 bestseller. And it's, there are people you can pay, 10 grand and they'll write you a book. But of course I wanted to write a book that I was proud of and something that, not perfect, but it's become now a #1 category bestseller on Amazon for real estate investing. And so I think that, the word authority has the word author in it, right? So if you want to be an authority in your field, just write a book on whatever it is you want to do. But I think having a goal for the book. So to me, the goal was to really help people, like people that I speak with, but it also, somebody who reads it, it's like when I get them on the phone, what do I really have to say? They know my investment philosophy. They know what I'm trying to do. They know the kind of what I'm trying to help them do. And they also get kind of the reason I'm doing stuff behind it. So it really opens up a lot of doors. So if you're looking for client acquisition, it's just something, it's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving back. And so I get, usually 2 to 5 people buy the book every single day. And then I get calls every single week just because I put things in the book that help draw people in. It's like a lead magnet for me.
I love that. Can't spell authority without author. Put it out here in the show notes for when we go live. And everyone out there, don't think that you can't do it or no one will read it. That's the itty bitty committee in your head. We all have it telling us, why should we write this book? Who will read it? Now you see the efforts paid forward by him. And the cover looks great, but we're going to save all those questions for your Writing with Authors interview. We've touched on a lot, the before, the current, what you're doing right now. What's in next? When this airs sometime summertime, what's the rest for the year looking like?
Yeah, so we're continuing to look for great deals. I think right now we've shifted. Anybody who's an investor, it's been real estate has been challenging for a lot of people the last, especially the last couple of years. You can buy real estate, but the problem is a lot of expenses are higher, rates are higher than they were. So it's hard to find something that's cash flow positive, that you buy it with a loan and all of a sudden you're actually making some money. It's hard to find. So we've been really looking at these cash flow investments, and I think that the biggest investment really we make is just in ourselves. So I'm continuing to learn, continue to read, continually to create, and continue to just network with great people that are looking to really grow wealth. And so always looking to learn. So if you got any good investments, Vincent, you're looking at, always looking for those as well. But we're hoping to acquire e-commerce, other types of businesses that really cash flow well the rest of this year.
I love, again, the ambition and continuing to evolve as an entrepreneur. I always find that with one accomplishment unlocks a new level in this video game of entrepreneurship. And now here you are talking about all these great things. But as we wind down, I always like to ask each guest here, Bronson, if you could choose any entrepreneur, dead or alive, to have a conversation with, pick their brain a bit, who are you choosing?
Oh man, I think I'd have to go with Warren Buffett just because I followed the guy for so long and just so been so inspired by his journey. And he's 94 now, so that could happen. But it's I think you can get a lunch with him for $5 million or whatever. He does
Is
like
that what he charges?
well, he basically does I think it's like an auction. So if you, it's like $5 or $10 million, and if you whatever you bid enough, you'll be able to sit down and have your family join him for dinner, and so it'd be a lot of money.
Talk about building up your worth, right? Your value. I mean, right, how much value can you hold? You can dictate the price, but let's delve deeper. If you could choose where the sit down would be as well, where would you choose?
Man, that's a good question. I think I don't know. I guess I kind of go one of two places. Either want to be in his house and just kind of be able to be there and enjoy it there, or just be at a beautiful place. Like there's a place in LA called Nobu, which is a sushi place in Malibu, which is very nice. So that'd be a nice venue as well.
That sounds great. Are you a regular goer there? Is that one of your favorites?
When I was in medical sales, we'd go in there. I have a funny story about this. I would go
Please,
there,
yeah.
bring a bunch of 10 doctors into this place, Nobu, and there was a legal limit. You can only spend with tax and tip around $225 a person. And I remember I went, this was like 5 or 8 years ago, and I come in and the waiter said, "Oh, I understand we have an extreme budget here, only $225 a person." I was just like kind of shocked. Like, that's an extreme budget. And this is before costs went up. This is before COVID, everything. So it was like, everything's kind of doubled since then, it seems like. But yeah, it was kind of a funny story. So.
It certainly has. Here in Florida, it used to be a cheap place to live, and then COVID came, and then I'm a Jets fan, right? And then Tom Brady comes down here and wins the darn Super Bowl, which is good to finally root for the guy, not in the Patriots uniform. But since then, it's just been skyrocket everywhere. It's in, Forbes best places to live, all of these things. So I
Wow.
definitely think that the economy is up to some things in present day. A lot of uncertainty, like you said. We touched on a lot. Is there anything else you want to touch on before I let you go?
Yeah, I have a gift for your audience here. I have for entrepreneurs and everything, just the idea we're talking about inflation, that costs have gone up, but there's this guide, how to use inflation to your advantage. So it's 30 pages. It talks about real estate, talks about using debt, using even precious metals, some really creative strategies you haven't heard of. But if you text the number or the word inflation to the number 33777, we'll send that to you for free. And then we'll let you know about our upcoming offerings if you're interested in hearing about what we do, and also how we help investors get cash flow appreciation or tax benefits.
Absolutely love that. Well, I might support you and get this book. I want to keep in touch with you. You seem like someone that will bring back on the show. I try to always encourage people, reach back out in half a year. Let's connect you with our audience again. It seems like by then you'll have quite a bit to talk about there. This is great. Are you guys already in the East Coast?
Yeah, I do get out there. I'm actually going to be out for a meeting in Philadelphia area next week. So I do get kind of back and forth a little bit occasionally. So I've lived like in Florida.
Well, actually, I'll touch on one more thing because we have a minute or two here. You do podcast hosting and podcast guesting. Even as a host, you still like to guest. Explain the benefit of podcast guesting for anyone out here listening on who may be looking for new ways to extend their reach.
Yeah, I'd say podcast guesting is more helpful, even more than hosting a podcast, because and if you have a podcast, it allows you to do a swap or to be able to kind of offer something to people as well. But I think when you can be a guest, it introduces you to a whole new crew of people that a lot of people hear about us. How'd you hear about me? Well, I heard you on a podcast. So that's not uncommon. So again, whatever your business, whatever your field, whatever you're trying to acquire customers, it's a cheap or free way to acquire customers. You've got to do a little work to kind of reach out and find people that are in your space or even in a different space. So if we're in real estate and other types of investing, like we reach out to entrepreneurs or lifestyle podcasts, that's a great way, because a lot of people are saying, "Hey, I do want to grow my wealth. I do want to learn how to invest." And so I think it's a great way to really grow without spending a lot of money on ads or other things.
I absolutely love it. And it certainly seems like the trend is podcast guesting over traditional billboard or other ways where you may not see that same ROI. Are we going to have another book by the end of the year? What's the plan here?
I'm hoping, man. I actually have a second book. It's called Rich Brain: How the Wealthy Change Their Brain to Change Their Bank Account. So it really comes down to these 2,500 interviews I've had with wealthy millionaires of what are the specific mindsets and habits around mindset. Because a lot of people think that writing down goals or doing affirmations or doing visualization is weird, except for this group that's very wealthy. Most people that are worth over $10 million have some sort of mindset practice they're doing on a daily basis. And the other thought is, most people think I know not this group because you guys are entrepreneurs, but most people think you're either born with money or you're not. But Fidelity Investments did a study and found that 86% of millionaires are self-made, right? So these are learnable, teachable things. And so I just want to share some of those secrets, some of those things we've learned, and I've just got a lot of stuff. So hopefully this year, I wrote the book, and then I realized I was kind of trying to do too much. There's actually several books. I've got to kind of cut it down, just rewrite the first one. So I've got my work cut out for me, but I'm excited though.
I'm sure you'll make time for it and crush it. And everyone, we will have him on Writing with Authors. That one will probably actually air first, but we'll have him on there. Be sure to go check out his books. I got this here. If you're catching the live stream after it goes live on my pages, text 33777 and text inflation. And he's going to go ahead and get you this book for free. He's got his website as well. I had that up before. It is bronsonequity.com. Be sure to go there, check out all he has to offer. And especially if you're on the West Coast, he's a great resource to have in your network. And of course, add his podcast, The Mailbox Money Show, to your queue. He's got a lot to offer. My name is Vincent A. Lancey. I want to thank you for tuning in and keeping the show a top 2.5% global show, thanks to great guests like ours today. Thank you for tuning in, and remember to subscribe to stay current as we're releasing episode after episode all summer long. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks.